Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How is it going? Welcome to another stream. How are you? How are you? Happy Sunday, everyone. I saw that the thumbnail. I thought that the thumbnail was not correct, but let me also check my microphone, etc. Yeah, things look good. Yeah, everything seems to be fine. How's it going, everyone? It has been quite a long time since we last had our live stream. When was the last one? Was it a week ago, maybe? No, 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3, because I was in the Google I/O Connect, and then also at GD Summit, and then in Düsseldorf as well. It has been a while. I'm going to quickly make sure that we are also looking good on LinkedIn as well. Good. All right. How are you? How are you? Let's see. Yeah, for those of you who were asking about the the Angular book, it was free for about 5 days, and now it's not actually. I may run another campaign, but that's not planned as of now. Let's see. And we gotta change the link as well. Sorry, I'm just making some things correct before we go. All right, can everybody hear me? Can I get some thumbs ups in the chat? And for those of you who are asking about the book, this is it. It's called Mastering Angular Signals. Oh, I have the thumbnail. That's not correct. Because we had previously the campaign where we were having this for free for a while. Now it's not actually. Mastering Angular Signals. No, I can't find the thumbnail now anymore. I'm gonna try to find it. But how's everyone doing? How's everyone's Sunday going? No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Let's see. Projects, CodewithAhsan, public, static. Nope. Yeah, images, and then we should have something for books. There we go, and there we go. So we're going to remove this guy, and we are going to use this one. Let's see if this gets updated. If I change this, oh, it does not. Why? What? Why? Let's see now. That's interesting. It does not update it accordingly. Let me try once again. So modern Angular signals, PNG. We remove this guy. I see some errors from restream that doesn't do it correctly, and then I save it. And I still don't see it. Okay, regardless. If you show this, it should actually show the right thumbnail, but it seems like I try to update the image. It doesn't get updated for some weird reason. Anyways, we'll see. Probably add a new one. Put image. Let's see if I can get this right this time. Okay, no, I don't. Hey, Andres, how's it going? How are you? How are you? Okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen in just a bit. I'm gonna try to remove all the weird tabs that I have. Da, 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 da. Oh, I just recalled I had to also change this as well. So we had our hydration example or the video, and I needed to push that to the final version as well. So let's quickly do that. Check out. I don't know why I am here. Sorry, give me 1 second. Customize and put that right there. Good. That's much better. So we check out to main. Or let's see. Okay, we still have the same changes. So git add, commit, chore, final, or we can say hydration, add hydration final code. And then we do a git push. And this says, all good. What are you doing today? Today we are going to do some sort of AI assisted coding. We're going to be using Firebase Studio to create an app that I've been thinking about. I also had my friends at IOMX working on that as well. For those of you who don't know about IOMX, it's an awesome consultancy. It's based in Australia and Pakistan. Really good folks when it comes to teams or helping out businesses or startups. So check them out. I'm sharing the link in the chat. But yeah, we were looking into something to be built, and primarily building something around Google ADK. So I wanted to build something that can work as a UI layer for the ADK. So all you needed to do was just give it like a resource URL, and people would be able to chat with an agent built with the Google Agent Development Kit. That was the idea. So I'll see if we can do that with Firebase Studio, and then I'm gonna give that whatever we build to our folks at IMAX, and then they can look into it and improve it, etc., etc., etc. So that's the plan for today. What are you folks working on? And I'll also try to have my other camera working as well. Let's see. I haven't fully figured out or thought about yet on how it should work. But I think the primary thing would be to get a resource ID. And if you have been following my Google Agent Development Kit use cases or tutorials, you may know already that we have a resource ID for the agent that's deployed on Google Cloud, and then you can use that agent to, or you can connect to that agent essentially. So we're going to try to look into a couple of things. We're going to try to do some AI assisted coding. We're going to use Firebase Studio. We're going to use Gemini CLI, and a couple of things here and there. So we'll see how that goes. And I can already feel that it's starting to become a bit warm in here. So I'm gonna open my window as well. Close the tabs to the right. Okay. Good. Are we ready? Should we move ahead? I'm gonna also see if my other camera is working. Yes, it is. Good. Let's see. Let's switch to that. That's the video. That's the pro video camera. Okay, so we're gonna look into just building some UI to have a really small layer on to be able to connect with some agents. So the idea should still be that you have a root agent that that responds to questions, but the UI layer would be able to like create chats, etc., etc., etc. So that's the idea. So once we start with Firebase Studio, it's gonna go much faster as well. But let me see. I'm gonna open the window first. Okay, I'll be right back. Give me 3 to 4 minutes. I have to warm up coffee. It's colder now, so I'll be right back. Mm-mm-mm-mm. And how do I put that? There you go. Okay, I think we can resume. Give me 1 second. All right. Are we ready? So we are going to start implementing something for the agent development kit. So let's quickly go ahead to Firebase Studio, and we are going to start from there. Okay. So we go to the studio. And how many of you have already tried Firebase Studio and or V0 or I don't know, Bolt or Lovable, etc., etc. And which tool is your favorite so far? So we're gonna start with at least telling it what we want to do. So um, I want to create a front end or an app for um, to connect with the agents or AI agents developed with the Google Agent Development Kit. And we're going to say that the agents are deployed either on Google Cloud Run or Agent Engine. In either case, an agent or a deployed agent has a resource ID. Since this app is going to be public, we want to either have this resource ID in the environment variable or the UI should ask for it as soon as the app opens. Okay, so we will go with this, right? Then um, once the resource ID is available, it should be able to connect with the resource. Now, the problem that we have here is that the ADK itself is available only on Python and Java. And I'm not really sure how we'll tackle that. Since this is going to start with, I don't know, since this is going to start with next, I'm not really sure if we can connect with Python in that case. So I'm thinking, not at the moment. We'll probably do that later. But those of you who are watching, do you understand what the scope of the project is so far, or do you have any questions? And I'm also trying to brainstorm in the meantime as well. So this is the prompt. You can probably see it better now. Let's address the constraints later, but for now we can say that once we have the resource ID, we should be able to connect with the resource, or we can say AI agents. Um, we should be able to create conversations, um, threads with the AI agent, like we do on WhatsApp or ChatGPT, for example, etc. Each chat is essentially a new session with the user and is unique based on user, session, and resource. Okay, so we go with this, right? The user should be able to ask questions via the chat input. Also be able to upload images, right? The response, um, we I'm not really sure if we want the response to be streamed or not, but we can look into it. I think we can say the response could uh, be streamed, um, but by default would not use streaming from the AI agent. Okay. Okay. Um, what else do we have? The user should, of course, be able to delete um, or yeah, delete chat threads. I think the user. I'm not really sure if the user should be authenticated to use the AI agent, but I think to keep the barrier low, we could say that the user doesn't have to. So what do? We probably go ahead and say, let's see. Sorry. So what do? We could go ahead and say, I don't know. I'm thinking. Okay, so the user should not need authentication by default. We could just create a user based on their browser using local storage. I'm thinking actually. Let's see. And we're doing it to keep the barrier to entry low. However, we could store important information in Firestore or in database where necessary, or whatever is necessary and is not provided by Google's ADK agent development kit. So this is what we have so far, right? I think we could start with this and then see where this unfolds. I'll also mention that the backend or the ADK itself is has a Python SDK only. I'm not sure if we can have the Python maybe fast API server code within this repo. If not, then we can just have the next project. Okay, so we keep it like this, and then I think we'll go forward from this. So one of the important things that you can see here is we are making sure that we have a lot of input when it comes to the prompt itself or what's going to be used. So this is like super crucial to have a bigger prompt whenever using it. So let's see. And I might have to create a new project, but I think that's fine. So we are going to prototype with AI. With Firebase Studio, when you do this, you essentially go into this mode, which is um, essentially just us asking the agent or Firebase Studio to build something, and then it spits out something at the end. We don't have to code anything ourselves. So that's actually pretty nice, pretty decent. Sorry, give me 1 second. Remove from list. Yes. Okay, we add a new one. Um, there's a question in the chat as well. Give me 1 second. Mm, and we go with to give me 1 second. Okay, finally. Okay, so I was just looking into at least making sure that this gets shown. So for those of you who were asking about the new book that we got just published, which is based on Angular v20, it is available now on Amazon, both on Kindle as well as on paperback. This what you see here is the Kindle version, and we had we had sort of a campaign running as well that was for 5 days. So a lot of people got it for free, but those of you who did not get it so far, you can still get that on the discount. So keep an eye out for more campaigns, which will probably come in the newsletter as well. Right. So let's see what we have got so far. So here we have the Agent Connect is what it's called. I'm gonna maybe rename this something different, but let's see. So we have the agent setup, initial agent resource ID setup. User is prompted to input the agent engine resource ID, can be stored locally. Then we have the thread creation, chat thread creation, users to create new chat threads. With the AI agent creating a unique user session and resource identifier, it could also connect to a large language model if the Google ADK is not available. I'm not really sure if this is required, but we'll see. We'll see. Chat input, a text input field for users to type questions for the AI agent plus image upload support. Message display, message and receive and messages within the chat thread in a clear chronological order. Then we got the chat history, which has the backend. Now, this is a new feature in Firebase Studio. And this was also shared when we had the Google I/O Connect as well. So this would set up the backend services for us, or backend. It could be Firebase functions, it could be Firestore, etc., etc. So here we are going to also sorry, if we are uploading images as well, it could store those images, or it would just send them, but it would have relevant information saved in Firestore in this case. And we'll see what the code looks like. Sugi says, I have no idea from where I have reduced from coding to prompting paragraphs. Now, what paragraph to inject thoughts directly in PC? I have no idea what I just read, but I feel you, I think. Rahman TV Pakistan says, love from Pakistan. Thank you, Rahman. Thank you. Okay, so we have thread deletion as well. Now, the colors that have been chosen are these. So we have calming blue, we have sort of a teal color as well, a clean and intuitive layout with clear visual hierarchy, etc. Typography is going to be Inter, which is okay. We also have iconography and animations as well. The UI is going to use TypeScript, Next.js, and Tailwind CSS. Good. Okay. I do want to check if I can customize this. I would say I think the colors, etc., all of those things are good enough for me. I did want to check if I can update the stack. I think that's something that probably would come later on. I don't think it's possible to change that yet. But for example, I would have loved to use uh, Daisy UI here instead of just plain Tailwind CSS. But that's fine. So the backend experimental will have Cloud Firestore, Firebase authentication. Okay, good. And this is a new feature as well for those of you who have not tried this out. The Cloud Firestore and Firebase authentication, I was really amazed to see when I was building the application for my demo, for my talk at the Google Cloud Summit that we did this week, or the hack challenge before the Cloud Summit. And until I published my application to production, I could still run all the cloud things. For example, I could have a Firestore database, I could have authentication, and I was wondering where is it coming from, because I did not have any Firestore or Firebase project created for this. But until we take this to production, automatically Firebase Studio generates those things, so we can still run them. Um, for example, offline, not offline, but we can still run them without having a project as well, which is super nice. So anyways, we are going to go with the prototype this application. We have a good blueprint, I would say, ready. And now it's gonna go ahead with prototype the application. So we just sit back, relax, and see where this goes. And trust me, I think these are really exciting times. I mean, we could not imagine coding like this or getting assistance like this a couple of years ago. So this is super exciting. Okay, so it's now going into this mode where it's creating all the files for us, so we can have a look as well. So it's creating the Firebase or Firestore rules, the pages, layout. So classic Next.js code as well. And in the meantime, I can just have my coffee. How many of you think that the application that's going to be generated from this is going to be really good? Can I get some thumbs ups in the chat? And how many of you think it's going to be not as good? So some thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. Can we have some thumbs up and thumbs down in the chat? How many of you think it's going to be really nice, whatever Firebase Studio creates? How many of you think it's going to be nice? Can I get some thumbs ups and thumbs downs? Pippin says, of course, it's going to be good, right? Okay. How many of you think it's not going to be good? I think we'll just give it like 1 minute, and then we can go and see what Firebase did for us. We'll also see if we can create 2 different projects. Now that I think about it, could be that we create it could be that we create a Python code base from Firebase Studio, and then we can also see if we can connect this front end with that. Oi, so we got Kumsia Ibrahim that says, and then we got Joseph who thinks it's not going to be as good. Okay, we can have a look, I think, now. So let's see if I can remove this guy. And Andreas says it's going to be good. Okay, so this is what we got so far, everyone. So first thing first, we don't have errors. So the application that got generated works. So that is like the first win for Firebase, so to say. Okay. So here now we have agent setup. Please enter your agent resource ID to begin with, and then here it's projects, your project location, etc. So until we do anything with this, I don't think we can actually go ahead at all. So I'm trying to close this, but it doesn't close, which kind of makes sense. But I would probably either not have this on the UI at all, so people could not click that, or show an error that says, okay, you need to give the resource ID. So now the problem is I don't know if I have my um I don't know have if I have my agent deployed. So let's have a look. I'm gonna go to console, and I do want to see. Give me 1 second. I do want to see if I have any of my agents deployed. So let's see if I can try to find if any of my agents are deployed actually. Um, I do remember that during my ADK course, I did add some stuff. So we can perhaps look into all of that actually. Um, Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. So let's wait. What happened here? Wrong click. So we go here. So we did have AI agents, Google ADK. Um, we can look into, let's say, deploying agents, and then this, right? So we did deploy our agent, if I remember correctly, and we did have. Let's actually open in Tmux, so we can do the same thing. Let's see in Vim, so I can manage my sessions as well. So we had deploy right here, and I'm hoping I did not delete anything. So it should be good, I think. Let's see. So if I open another one, I could do, what was it called? Oh no, I forgot the command that was, I think, yeah, it was source venv bin activate. Yeah, that was the one. Then we go ahead with our command. So we say Python, and we say, what was it called? Six deploying agents. And then we go with run flow py. So I want to see if this gets deployed. Okay, so we have token that is expired or revoked. Okay, so let's see if I can also run the other one, which was deploy. I think it's going to fail as well, because we need to also have, yeah, let me see. So if we go to the sixth part and then we run this again, Python deploy. I think because I was running it from the folder outside, it didn't work well. Okay. That didn't work well as well. So we got token has been expired or revoked. So what we do here is we're gonna quickly go ahead and we say, what was it? Gcloud? No. All right, let's see. We're gonna have to go to the documentation now. First to deploy our projects. So Google ADK deploy. We could also just run with Cloud Run actually, if I remember correctly. So we don't have to run all the magic things, but we have to provide the Google Cloud project. We have to provide the okay. Let's see. So we have our project ID, we have location, we have the agent. Okay, no, but do we have to run the? Okay, this is optional, and then the application name as well. So then we just need to provide this. Okay, so let's try it out. I'm gonna see if it could also run the location as well. So we're gonna go with let's see. Mm, Give me 1 second. Mm, 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 mm. That was deployed. This was run flow. Hmm. I do remember there was another command that I could work with. Maybe let's try with the agent engine itself. I don't want to try Cloud Run at the moment, but let's see. So I do remember we had all of this, but let's skip. Then we had authentication that we also needed to have. So let's see. Uh, uh, uh. Da, 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 da. So we needed our bucket. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can search for Google Cloud or Cloud CLI auth. Yeah, that's the one. So we go with Google Cloud auth login. So let's go to Codebase here and let's see. Okay, so we go there and we quickly log in, allow it the moment. Then we go back and then we can set the project ID. Okay, so right now my project is iConnect Berlin, which I think is fine. We're gonna keep it like this. Um, but then I could no, but then I have to update my project ID as well. Give me 1 second. I need to switch my project to see if everything looks good there. So IO Connect Berlin. And then we also need a bucket as well. So we go back, we create a new bucket. We call it, what do we call it? ADK. What was the agent that we had? Sorry. So if we go to the agent itself, research agent. So we had a researcher and post as well. Okay, social media agent. So let's change that. So social media agent. Oh, we have a globally unique name, parent name. Okay, interesting. So we have we can probably say CWA underscore um, social media agent. So we create with this bucket. We keep it multi-region, I would say. Keep it like this. Enforce public access. Keep it like this as well. Keep it like this as well. And we keep it like this as well. So now that we have the bucket, we can essentially use that in our code base and then also our project ID as well. So let's see if I can. Uh, uh, uh. Okay, so where did we had our project? Uh, uh, uh. We need to set the Google. Sorry, we need to set the project ID, etc. So we do have. Whenever we connect with Vertex AI, I don't think we do it here in this folder or in this project. We probably do it later somewhere. So we probably would be doing in deploy. So deploy has the project ID and we have this multiversity thing here. There we are going to add the project, then the bucket. We can paste it like this. Let's copy the project ID. So we're gonna go back here. We're gonna paste this. I think we should be good. Location staging bucket. I think this should be good. So let's try this again. I'm gonna do Python deploy, and that took us some time, but let's see. I think it should still be fine. Okay, the token has been expired. Why does it say token has been expired? I'm looking at, what am I looking at here? So we have agent engines, okay, and then we have VENV that should be there. Google auth exception refresh error invalid grant. The token has been expired or revoked. If I do auth revoke, now that's revoked, right? Now if I go ahead and say login, I think the reason could be that we need to do one more thing that I'm missing, and I think it was mentioned here somewhere. Default application, something like this. Yeah, this one. I think this is the one that I'm missing. So let's see if I can put that properly. Da, 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 da. Now this has opened this. Hopefully. It's taking a bit of time. I wonder why. Okay, there we go. Consent summary. Okay. Now this gave me a different dialog than the previous normal login. So let's see. It could be that my internet is not as good at the moment. Okay, so it did add that thing in the default credentials list. So let's see now. Hopefully it works this time. Yeah, there we go. So now it's trying to deploy the agent as it should. That should be good. But I would also have to, yeah, I would have also have to look into the credentials as well. We'll see how that goes. Once we have the resource ID, we can start putting that as well. So here we have creating agent engine, backing LRO, and here we have projects, blah, 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 reasoning engines. And this is, I think this is essentially the URL that we need. So if I go back to my front-end application, which is this. So if I go with project slash blah, 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 and if I say save and connect, now what happens? Are we able to generate? Are we able to create sessions, etc., etc.? So we'll see the first iteration of your application is ready, and now we can edit the code. But if I say new chat, then you can see here. Okay, so now we have an error. Dialog trigger must be used with the dialog. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna just say fix, or I could look into it, but I don't want to look into it, and we'll see if this connects well. And I also want to do something in the meantime. I want to look into the Python side of it to see if we can implement a Python fast API that works with the Google ADK, so to say. And what I also need to do immediately, I think, is well, we'll see. Once this is done, then we can move ahead with other things as well. But let's see. Okay, so we go to, so here it says da, 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 now it's finalizing and still fixing things, so not too bad. What I also want to do is to look into Gemini CLI as well in the code mode and see if we can do something there as well. But let's do one thing in the meantime. While this is happening, I'm going to also open another Firebase Studio window so we can implement the Python part as well. It's fixing this one for now. That's good. Now we are going to start with Python and Flask, and then we go from there. Gemini API, blah, blah, blah. I will go with Python Flask. Okay. So we can say ADK, or we can say agent. What did we call this? Agent Connect, right? So agent Connect backend. Okay. Maybe BE. Agent Connect BE, right? Package manager, I would say we could go with, I don't know. A lot of people like poetry. Some of us like pip. Would probably go with pip since it's a bit easier, I would say. But then I'm also thinking of yeah, we could go with poetry. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna use this for, what do you call it, AI assisted coding anyways. So we go with API server, and we're gonna create that. And if I open the details, what does it look like? So here, create a workspace. Okay, so if I go to Python, support for Python, Android, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we go with API server, we create it. And now we can work on parallel in both of these things. Okay, so now we got a new chat that we just added. And here is the new chat. And now I could ask agent question like search, or, you know, what is happening today in the world of Google ADK, right? So this is a question I could ask. It would send it, and then, yeah, this is a simulated response to what is happening. So now at least we have a UI that's ready. We could keep sending it, and then it could keep creating that, which is nice. Let's see if it automatically scrolls, which you can see it does. So from a UI perspective, this is pretty solid, right? Now I could delete it, and then we have a delete dialog as well. I could delete it. Looks nice. We got some sort of toasts as well, messages as well. I like it. we could get rid of the sidebar, but now I have no clue how can I get the sidebar back. Okay, what happened here? Give me my sidebar back. Okay. Or maybe I'm no, I'm not zoomed out. So how can I? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna probably ask Firebase Studio, how do I get my sidebar back? Okay, once I collapse the sidebar, it's like it's like the junior developer on the first day. No offense to any juniors. How how do I get it back? So let's see what it comes up with. And we have the agent connect be created. We got a Python here. We have a Flask example right here as well. Seems good to me, right? Um, so it's generating all of those things. We notice a new environment has begun. Do we want to select it for the workspace folder? I would say yes. And now it's selecting poetry and creating the environment, the virtual environment as well. Again, I'm not a Python developer, so I'm not great at it. So feel free to correct me if you see something is wrong here. But yeah, we'll look into this. Okay, so now that we are doing this, let's see, it's gonna adjust the sidebar and the behavior, etc., etc. Um, where were we? We were deploying this as well, right? So we'll see if this goes well. Probably gonna copy this, go here, and then we can also try to look at the logs as well if everything is going well. Okay, so yeah, this looks okay. This looks good. So we did have the Docker container being pushed, and this should be available anytime now, I think. Okay, so now that we have this, we want to also have the Python backend as well. So how do we go there? How do we tell it that we are building sort of a backend for Google Gemini? And I also want to do one thing as well, and that is using the Gemini CLI. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and I'm going to go to Gemini CLI, and we'll install that in the package, oh, sorry, um, in here, basically. So we go ahead, we copy this guy, and then we install it right here as well. And that's fine. So we go with Gemini CLI. So we can ask questions directly from the terminal as well. That would give this, I mean, it would do probably the same thing as what the Code Assist would do, but I can use my own API key here, for example, and whatnot. So I'm going to still install it. Let's see. So we got on create, we got on start, which is running this guy. And then we have this here. Okay, so now I can say I want to create API endpoints, which, and I can I okay, I'm gonna ask Gemini here actually. Let's see if I can ask it here. Okay, so here we have the setup for Gemini CLI. So we are using Gemini CLI in Firebase Studio. Okay, create Gemini MD to customize your interaction with Gemini. No problem. We're probably gonna do that in a bit. We keep the default ones, and then now we can we can log in with Google. We can get a Gemini API key from AI Studio, or we can use Vertex AI in this case. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use the Gemini API key. I could use that actually, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna get the Gemini API key, which is this one. So I'm gonna add that right here. So let's quickly add, not here maybe, but let's quickly add a new file outside. Click here. We're gonna say .env, and in here we have Gemini API key. Okay, and then we need to set it here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to quickly grab it from AI Studio. So aistudio.google.com. We go to our API keys, and I'm going to pick the one from here. And then we save it, and then we close it. And I think we should be good. Okay. So now we have the Gemini API key set. Okay. So now I can ask questions from Gemini here. Okay. So I want to implement API endpoints for Google ADK. Um, search to get the documentation, for example, right? And I'm going to say the endpoints would be to create a session, takes user session, or whatever. I'm going to say create a session, delete a session, and send text messages to the session. Also to retrieve messages history. The API is going to be used. I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see a bit better as well. The API is going to be used by another front end project, or the API endpoints are going to be used um, to interact with the AI agent built with Google ADK. So it looks like, and it looks like my camera died. So I'm going to switch to this. WhatsApp or ChatGPT in general, but the user is able to chat with the agent deployed with uh, deployed to agent engine on Vertex AI. Wait, what happened here? Okay, something weird when I typing. You see, maybe it's because of the terminal's limitations. But let's send this and see what happens. I'm gonna copy this so I don't lose it, and I can, if anything fails, then what we'll do is we'll just use Gemini, the code assist right here instead. Okay, so let's send this and see what happens. Greasing, developing the backend API, escape to cancel, interesting, planning the API endpoints. And again, we are using Gemini CLI here, but Gemini CLI is still Gemini Code Assist, so to say. Mohsin Hafiz says, Ahsan, what do you think about the data analytics field nowadays in future? I think it's still relevant. It's a lot easier to do data analytics, I think, because of the tools that we have available now. But again, the field itself is okay. You can still go in data analytics and learn these tools, be an expert, and get good job, for example. Okay, so what happened here? Let's see. So here it says, first let's find the official documentation. So it went ahead with Google search and search for Google ADK, right? Then it says now I need to build a front end, sorry, a backend for the front end to use ADK AI agent. The backend needs to handle creating, deleting, and managing chat sessions, okay, including sending messages and retrieving history. This project is a Python Flask app. So here we have main.py as an entry point, dependencies, blah, blah, blah. Now I will create a new file to handle business logic of the application. So here we have this file, right? So we have a bunch of lines that we have. The first 9 lines are hidden. So we do have delete session, get session, add message to session, etc., which seems okay, I think. I will create a file, services, agent service to encapsulate the logic for interacting. Okay, so I'll go ahead and say, yes, allow once, or sorry, yes, allow once, yes, allow always, or modify with the external editor. I actually want to try modifying with the external editor so I can see if it opens this in the Firebase Studio code editor or not. So let's try this one now. Okay, so we have none, Z, VS Code. We have Vim, NeoVim, which is not installed. I think when we open VS Code, it's going to use the Firebase Studio. So let's see. If I do that, does it open that? Waiting for user confirmation. I think it's not going to be able to do that because it's running in the browser. We will not have any confirmation. So maybe that option is not gonna be fine. So let's go with yes allow once, because the code assist here, the benefit of that is that it can interact with the terminal and can interact with this code editor. But Gemini CLI here would not be able to do it because it does it on the operating system level. So I'm gonna say allow once. Okay. So here we are writing this file. Now I will create a new file to handle the API endpoints. I will create now. What does it do? It now is creating a chat controller.py to create those files. So the first one that it added was in source services and agent service, which is this code. So it had a UUID sessions, and then it's just adding those sessions right here. I don't think that's what I actually wanted from the ADK, but yeah, nevertheless, let's see what this does. So here we have yes allow once, and now it's creating controllers, chat controller, which it's using from here. Now it's creating those routes. Okay, that makes sense. And then it's going ahead with registering these controllers in the main Python file. I'll also say, okay, allow once. And now it's saying poetry at Google Cloud API, Google Cloud AI platform. Okay, I'm going to say allow once. Let's see. So this is now running, the Gemini CLI is actually running a command and showing us the output within the terminal itself. This is crazy. Now I will modify the agent service file to integrate with the Google ADK. Okay, this is what I was afraid of, that it would not do. It would not understand that we need to use the Google ADK. And I thought it was just create something like something stupid, like just using a JSON, dictionary for this. But it actually is using now, or it's planning to use ADK. This is actually really cool. So I'm gonna quickly go ahead and say yes. So now it's using, now it's actually trying to create the agent. This is cool, really cool. And now it's defining the core endpoints. But I don't really think we need to create an agent. We just need to work with the resource ID and then just interact with the agent. So I'm going to tell it to do so, but we'll see. Okay, yes, allow once. Now it's adding the agent service, add message, good. Now I will create a file run.py to define the entry point of the application. This will help to abstract the way the project is executed. Okay. Let's see. Now I will add the new dependencies to PyProject.toml to make sure the project has all the necessary libraries to run. So it's now running the ADK. I don't know if the project name was Google, ADK or Google ADK, and our agent is deployed, by the way. But we can have a look. So if I go here, and if I go to, why can't I go there? Anyways, if I go to requirements txt, it's Google ADK. It's not ADK. So that it got wrong, maybe, I think. What do you think? I think it got it wrong. So Google Cloud AI platform. I would say, okay, let's go and allow it once. Let's see. So we do poetry install. I think once it's done, then I can ask it to fix things. Installing this, it seems like poetry log file is out of sync with project toml file. Okay, so it's running now poetry log to fix it. ADK package is not available on PyPy. I will search the correct package. Okay, so it's trying to figure it out that ADK is not there. It looks at it failed. Now it's gonna try to find the correct package. Good. Okay, so first I will remove ADK dependency from Py project. Good. So it's removing it. I'm gonna allow it, and let's see if it automatically looks for Google ADK. Okay, now it's running poetry install, but I want to also look into if it can look into Google ADK. So now it's doing pip install with the agent development kit. Okay, so it's installing it from the GitHub repository, which is fine, I would say. Copy and continue to GitHub. Um, I thought it would go with. Okay. Okay. Mm, mm, okay. Okay, describing the permissible data. So that's okay. That's fine. Now I have to use a pass key, which is not there. So now I need to use authenticator. Let's see. All right. So now it's cloning the repository into the project. Interesting. ADK Python. Okay. I could also just tell it that okay, it's Google ADK. Okay, now it's running Python, run py. Let's see. Let me know if there's too much noise from my end. See, okay, so now it's adding it to Poetry. Previously, it installed it via pip, which is not ideal. Mm-hmm. Yes, run Poetry install. Okay, let's see if it can make it work. So we still have some issue where the wrong module was being referenced from the agent service pi, which is right here, but it's trying to fix it itself. So here adk.agent is not something that exists. So we're gonna, yeah. So we're gonna say apply this change. Yes. Python 3.py. Let's run it. So we now found another issue where it says Google ATK. That's not correct. Let's see. It's google.adk. Okay, good. Allow the change. Yes, run it. And I also want to see what is in run py. So it's app.run, and app comes from main, where we have Flask, where we have some routes, but we also have chat blueprint here as well. Okay. So it should be okay, I think. Okay, so we got some errors. It seems like Google ADK agent module is still not found. Now I have listed the contents of Google ADK. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's trying to read the files within the project and trying to fix those itself. So google.adk.agents instead of agent that was there before, and sessions instead of session before. All right, let's change those. And now we run this again. Okay, so we are now serving the Flask app. Good. So it seems like port 5000 is already in use. I will modify to run application on a different port. Um, Let me think actually. But 8080 is also going to be used somewhere else actually. I would say, but does it have all the context that we have on this project or no? Um, I would say no escape. I would say choose a port which is not very common. This project is being run on Firebase Studio Web and could interfere with other common ports that Firebase Studio is using. All right, so let's see. So it still has the whole context of our Gemini chat. All right, so we are using 8787. We're going to say allow once. And we go ahead with run this. Okay, it still uses. Why? This is because run.python is using this. Aha, okay. Is not being used by the Flask command. I will modify the runpy file to run the application on the correct port. Okay, so what did it do? Aha, okay, so it passed the port. Kind of makes sense. Debug mode on. Debugger pin is this. Good. And I think it's done actually. But I have to still see if this endpoint works. Services is using agent service. It uses session ID, creating a session. We have deleting a session. We have sending a message. Then we have get messages. Okay. And then if we go to agent service, we have create session. And here we have agent ID. I don't think that's actually correct, but we'll see. Rako Raymer says everything is good, no fan noise. That's good. I think there's a huge delay with YouTube because I asked this question I think at least 1 to 2 minutes ago. Okay, it's still saying finalizing port change, so I'm not really sure if it's gonna stop it because the command is running. I think it's gonna keep running. I think the command ran just fine. Okay. I would say, how do we test the API endpoints? And then also, I'm thinking actually, please look at the documentation. Or I could say, maybe I could just give it my Reko says, no, I'm writing this very late. Sorry, bro. No, it's okay, fine. It's okay. Okay, so maybe I can actually give it my repositories link and I can say, go to this and see how this works essentially with my, where is it? This guy. So I can say, look into this particular code where we need to use the resource, etc. So I would say to this, look at the code from this URL where you can see files that communicate with a deployed AI agent using the ADK SDK Python, right? And now I share the URL. Are you ready? Let's see if it can look at the URL and then maybe come up with a solution for this one. Rico Romer says, I have a question. Can I ask, bro? Before you ask that question, there is a really nice thing that I can share with you. And that's called don't ask to ask, just ask. So this is an awesome URL I share with everyone who asks me a question. And the summary is that you can just ask the question. You don't have to ask the question. So go ahead. Okay, so here it says web fetch blah blah blah. Okay, so here it says you are right. The command likely ran a successful in the background. My apologies for the repeated attempts to run it. To test the API endpoint, you can use a tool like curl. I will provide the commands for each endpoint. Okay, but first let's analyze the code from the URL you provide to ensure my implementation is correct. This will help me understand how to properly interact with a deployed agent. Analyze the code here to understand blah blah blah. URLs to fetch is this one. Do you want to proceed? Yes, I want to proceed. Now I want to see what does it do. So it uses a web fetch tool behind the scenes. The Google ADK uses it, or sorry, not Google ADK, but Gemini CLI uses it to fetch the URL, and then tries to get the example code. I could have given this direct link to, for example, this, but I would say it does it on its own, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Okay, so what did it do? I was unable to fetch the content from the URL. I provided with the curl command to test the API endpoints. Okay, I would say add these commands to a markdown file so I can copy paste them later. Adil says, I've quit coding after trying for 2-3 years. It's not for me. That's fine. You can build skills in whatever you think is going to help someone, and that they will pay you for that. So if it's not coding, try to find something that you find interesting and can bring money to you. So yeah, I think just like everything else, coding probably is not for everyone. All right, let's see. So now we are adding a file which is called API testing commands. Where did we add that? So here we have. Okay, good. I would say to this fetch the code from here and aligns with the code we have for working with ADK, i.e. for sending a message, creating a session, etc. Okay. Rico says, I'm currently learning agentic AI or SDK, so suggest me some tool that's going to help me while doing projects and learning both. I think you can use Firebase Studio to create something from scratch. So I'm gonna put myself up top. Give me 1 second. Customize here. So I would say that you could use Firebase Studio if you just have an idea and you want to take it to production, and you want Firebase Studio to do the heavy lifting, which it is doing here in our UI part of it. This is just the Python part. I think it's a bit more tricky for it to use. And then if you just want to use help from coding editors or other things like Gemini Code Assist. So here you can see that I have a code editor, which is Firebase Studio here, and I can basically just go in my terminal, ask questions, and it has all the access to all my code here. I can ask it to fetch information from the URL, blah blah blah. So I can do a lot of stuff right here. So Gemini could be something that you could use, Gemini CLI itself. And then there's also one thing called Klein, which I use quite a lot, but I also use it with Gemini. So extension, and this is also a really good extension to use for AI assisted coding. Client.bot. So you can look into this as well. And it looks like this. So you go there, you ask some questions, you have your model selected. It does more or less what you just see me having with Gemini. So it you can plan, and then it updates your code like this. So yeah, I would say you should try this. I had a really good experience with this. And you can go back to a certain point or a certain checkpoint, restore your code. You have a history of the changes that you are done. So it's really really nice. Okay, so now what it's doing is saying I will now refactor the agent service to use Vertex AI agent engines, the environment variables for configuration. This will align our implementation with the best practices from the example code. Okay, so that is good. I'm gonna say allow, and now it's using the agent resource ID that we can add into our env variables. Okay, that is good. Okay, I will now update the controllers to align with the changes in the agent service file. Okay, I'm gonna say yes to it, but I also want to tell the AI. I also want to tell Gemini that we're gonna be passing the agent resource ID in all of the calls from the front end, because it should not be hard coded on the back end. It would be on the front end, so to say. Rico says thanks a lot, bro. No problem at all. Make sure to give a like to the stream if you have not reacted to it already. Wherever you're watching on, it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. Make sure to give a like and also share this on your profile so it also reaches other people. That really helps the channel grow. Okay, then it says I will now update the testing commands to reflect the changes. Yeah. But I think we would have to do this again because we need to have. Is there anything else I can help you with? Yes, the resource ID would always be sent from the front end. I think. I'm thinking actually now. Okay, yeah. Let's say the resource ID would always be sent from the front end. So we don't need an environment variable for this. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. I think a lot of you may just not be able to see this. What happened here? So we don't need an environment variable for this. So we do it like this. Now it's gonna adopt the code accordingly. Thank you. It's going crazy. Wait. What on earth is happening right now? Okay, stable now. I will now refactor accept the resource ID, the parameter in each function. This will allow the resource ID to be passed from the front end in each request. Yes. Da, 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 da. Now it's updating the controller. So it usually starts with the service, then goes to the controller, and I think then it goes one level above, which was the function. I think it was, yeah, API testing commands. So these are the three files basically that we are changing. Okay, I think actually now that we have this done, I believe we should be able to just run these curl commands and see if everything looks good. Okay, so the application will be running on this. So we have here, I think we would have to restart this. Can we restart this? Okay, there we go. Rico says, I'm watching you on YouTube and LinkedIn both, and congratulations on getting the award from Google I/O. Thank you so much. It was nice. It was this guy that I got. Unfortunately, um, this could not be charged again. So I have something that is really cool, but I cannot charge it. I think I will at some point try to open this and see why it doesn't charge. But I think, yeah, I got excited, but then it didn't. Yeah, we could see that at least for one night. That was good. Okay, so we got this running on localhost 5000. Okay, maybe I'll also ask it for the API testing. I think I can mention the file name with the @ sign. Yeah, API testing commands. Update the port to 5000, as that's where it runs. I think. No, I don't think so. So we can just say exit. Does it run? Okay, goodbye, confirming add. Okay, maybe they should fix it, but let's see. I can just say Control C, and it exists. Okay, so now I can go ahead and run the commands. So if I go there, I should be able to see the curl that we have here. Okay, so we have create a new session. If I try to get a new session, let's see, delete a session. So we have 4 API calls, right? So how about we try to create a session like this, and we have we're gonna modify it to say user ID is or ABC123. So ABC123. The resource ID is gonna be this. So we have the agent resource ID. We're gonna have to get it from our terminal, which was right here. So I think this is my ID if I'm correct. Okay, I think, or is it the whole thing? Okay, so to use this agentic engine at the session, we need to get this whole thing. So this is the resource ID. So we go there and then we paste it like this. Okay, and remove the quotation from here, and then we have API sessions. Are you ready? Let's see what happens. Only proceed. Yeah. Let's do that. Oi, let's go. You see here, we got a session. How cool. And did I have to write even a single line of code so far? Look at the marvel of AI. Super cool. My sis is an electronic engineer, so she can help you to fix it. Okay, really? That's awesome. I don't know where you're based in though. If you are based in Stockholm, then I can maybe reach out. But I think this is the session that we want to have, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to get the session or send a message to the session, so to say. So let's try to do it like this. So we can do a let's see. I'm gonna try to copy this resource ID, or let me do it from here. So this is the whole resource ID. So if I go back here, I can maybe have that right here. So this is my resource ID. So I could go here. Um, Maybe I can use Code Assist to not have to do it myself. Okay, let's try this. So my resource ID is okay. Um, and I created a session, I could say. Why do I have events? Where is this starting from? I think it's starting from. Where is the object starting from? Ah, okay, here. Was going crazy. Okay, so we got this guy. We copy this, and then and I created an AI agent that returned or agent session that returned this JSON. Now, so now look at how I'm using AI in this case. First of all, we have created the project completely based on Gemini CLI. Okay. Now I'm using Gemini Code Assist to, and I've also asked Gemini CLI to give me curl examples here to test my API endpoints. But now I'm asking Gemini Code Assist that's running here to look at the file or to look at the markdown file which has the examples, and I'm giving it the data that I've already have from my session creation, so it can help me run more commands, and I don't have to copy paste these projects and all my arguments, myself time and again. So this is how you use AI to save time. So I can say now, I want to just get a session or send a message to a session, whichever is possible first. And I can also say look at, and here I can say API. Wait, API, no, I can't give it. Okay, API testing commands.md for inspiration, right? Let's do it like this and see what happens. Okay, so there you go. You see, it's automatically given me a command that has all of the things that I need. So here you can see it's post, right? I'm gonna bring it a bit up so everyone can see that. So here you can see it's a curl, has a post, and then here it has the user ID ABC123 automatically getting from this data that we have in the terminal. Then it says message hello agent. It's also passing the resource ID and reasoning engines, etc. So it's sending a message with this right API. So all I need to do is run this command in terminal, and there you go. So let's see what it does. Okay, so it executed the task, and what happened next? The response contains several events from different agents. Research agent ready to assist with search and task for a topic. LinkedIn post agent ready to craft a LinkedIn post, and this. So it got the command running as a message, and then also here you can see the response as well. So if I go up here, you can see this was the message that was sent, which is here. So we sent this particular API call. Okay, and previously I had all of these other things, and I don't know where my particular agent went. Okay, it's here. So it started working on the first one. Okay, kind of makes sense. So in here, then I got this particular response from the agent that we already have. So request auth config blah blah blah. So we got a research summary, which is this. We got a researcher agent response as well, the one that we deployed. All of the things are here. That's super cool, right? So we are able to test it. Now let's say if I want to get the messages history. So let's get the messages history for the session. What happens now? Rico says, it seems you're using more AI than the whole planet. Yeah, could be. I'm using multiple things at the same time. Okay, so we got a command that is generated by the Gemini code assist. This one just requests a get call to localhost 5000, API sessions, blah, 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 and then messages. And then it gives the user ID as a parameter, resource ID as a parameter, which contains the whole link. Okay. Now I can run this in the command, and now we should be able to see the response as well. Good. So here I retrieve the message history for the session. It includes the initial message, hello agent, from the user and subsequent responses. So if I go up here, you can see that this is the whole history. So what was the API call that was sent just now? This one. Okay. So we got a get call being sent here to the messages endpoint. And then this is the response. So it got the messages. It has actions, blah, 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 parts inside here. Where is my message? So here we have the text, hello agent. This is the one that I sent. And then it has the responses. So here we have the research summary. We have, hello, I'm ready to assist you, blah, 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 with the innovative summary, blah, blah, blah. And then we have another event. This one is the LinkedIn post agent. And then there should also be another one that is a summarizer as well, or Instagram agent as well. Yeah, post merger agent as well. So all of this is good. Okay, so we were able to test our API endpoint. So I'm really fascinated by the fact that we've been live for about 2 hours now, out of which I think maybe half of it I just was blabbing about different stuff or waiting. And now we have endpoints that are actually ready to be used by other projects. So we have the endpoint ready, right? All right. Now how do we deploy this to production is going to be the question. How can we take this to production? I know that we are able to deploy, for example, I don't know, the front end application to production, which is this one. But I'm not really sure how do we go with deploying the Python project from Firebase Studio. Thunder client, Firebase Studio, testing, extensions, run and debug. So we are already running this, run the Python file. So we could run this automatically in the terminal, which we are already doing at the moment. The question would be, how do we deploy this? Because for this one, we have a publish button, if you see up top. For this guy, we don't. So interesting. Firebase Studio publish Python app. Rico is asking, what is the difference between Colab and Firebase, which will be good for agentic programming? Colab is essentially just your Python notebook. I'm assuming you're referring to the IPYNB file, which is the interactive Python notebook, which just contains the Python code that you can run, and it shows you the output right there. Here, I'm actually building an API server with Python, and I'm also building a UI with Next.js. So Firebase Studio does much more than just the Python notebooks, so to say. So I would say it's much bigger than just the Python notebook, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have this done. Now I want to look into how do we deploy this. So let's see. Publish your app with Firebase Studio. So it says it's ideal for publishing dynamic Next.js and Angular applications. App hosting offers a built-in framework, support GitHub integration, Firebase products like Firebase authentication, blah, blah, blah. If you develop a Next.js prototype with app prototyping agent, you can publish directly from Firebase Studio. Firebase Studio or Firebase hosting is well suited for hosting web apps and static content. I think this is the one that we are going to look into, like using Cloud Run to deploy containerized applications. It's a good choice for publishing scalable and portable applications that can run on any platforms. I think this is what we want. We probably want a Cloud Run system to publish it. If I try to find Python here, I don't at the moment, right? So maybe I can chat, except here, more AI, as you can see. How do I deploy a Firebase Studio based Python Flask app on Google platform? Let's see. So this is also another way of using the Gemini Code Assist, but this is on the page itself, or yeah, on the documentation itself. So here we could use Cloud Run as it says. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna try to a little bit down. So here you do have the Cloud Run for publishing a scalable, portable, containerized application, which would work well for Python Flask app. You can learn more about Cloud Run in the document you're reading. Other deployment options could be this. Okay, so how about we go ahead and here we ask, how do we deploy this Python Flask app to Google Cloud Run? What needs to be done? And if you can, start helping out with relevant changes. So we want to take this to production now, which I think we should be able to do, right? Rico says, why don't you use Chainlit for UI? I think it will be easier for you and for viewers too. I don't know, to be honest. I've never worked with Chainlit. I've never worked with Firebase Studio with this setup, to be honest. So I want to try out for now just Firebase Studio and test the limits of what it can do for me, and then we take it from there. So yeah, that's my idea. All right, so here it says, let's start by creating a Docker file in the root of the project. Then we go ahead with Python 3.9 Slim. Okay. Then we are using app, pip install Poetry. We install Poetry. We install the packages. Then we expose the port, and then we just run Python. Good. I think it sounds good. So we containerize it. Then it says, okay, I created a Docker file. Good. To build and push the image, you can use the following command. And this is gcloud build submit tag. And then it says, I can't see what it says. So here it says insert code, run the command in terminal, or copy to clipboard. So I'm going to copy to clipboard and see what it does. So here it says, replace project ID with your Google Cloud project ID. This command will build a Docker image based on the Docker file, and then we'll push it to Google Container Registry. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to do the same thing. And here we should be able to say Google Cloud or gcloud builds submit tag. And then here we go with the project ID. The project ID that I had was, this one. So let's quickly go ahead and paste it. And now I should be able to submit it, I think. Let's see. After the image is built and pushed, you can deploy it to Cloud Run. So now it's trying to search my Cloud Run projects. I'm going to use the Google I/O Connect Berlin. And this is, you can see that the whole experience is really like integrated. So it asked me the project ID. It could pull up the project names here. Automatically did show that as well. Good. And then here also it says, once this has pushed this, you can deploy it to Cloud Run. So I have to push the image first, and then I have to deploy it. Okay. Let's see. So now this is running it with the pip install. So it would run the Poetry install, etc. Okay. So we have an issue here. So here it says currently activated Python is 3.9.12, not supported by the project. Okay. So I need to give this to Gemini, even though I know what the issue is and how to fix it. I'm gonna let Gemini fix it, because what this would do is it would update the Docker file to use a Python 3.12, I think. So here it uses, now it uses 3.11 Slim, which is kind of okay, I would say. You could use 12, but it's fine. Okay, now I have to run the same thing again. So I'm gonna run this again. So let's see now. So now it's using the Python 3.11 Slim to deploy this. You know what would be awesome is once we are done with this, I could actually just go ahead with the API testing commands, README, and I could just give this to the other one, like this front end, and I could ask it to just use that to change its code and yeah, go with that. By the way, last time, the last thing that we asked from our uh, yeah, our front end application was when I clicked this, it just went away. I couldn't open it again. If I close this now, you can see now I can still open it. So that's good. Thank you. Okay, so here, let's see what happened now. So no dev does not exist. So I can maybe just copy this guy, paste it again. Also, I can share the project ID is, and then I can give it the project ID because I don't like the fact that I have to copy paste it again. So let's see, I'm gonna copy this here. So it can give me the command that is correct by default. So let's see now. So what are the changes? Poetry install no root. Okay. What? What did it say? I'm sorry, but I can't help you with it. Help you with what? Okay, give me the commands, but with the right project ID. What can't you help me with? Okay, so here we have IO Connect Berlin, blah, blah, blah. So now I submit this. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one open. Okay. And now let's see. Running pip install poetry. So far so good. Do we think it's gonna go go well this time? And once this is deployed, we can just give this to the front end. So here now it says running pip as root user can result in broken permissions, conflicting behavior. Okay, that's fine. Creating virtual environment. Now it says no dev does not exist. What happened here? Okay, I'm gonna try to give it the context here. So let's see. It seems like encountering problem with the no dev option, blah, blah, blah. In the poetry, I apologize for the repeated error. Let's try removing that option from the Docker file again. So here, it should just say no root. Okay, maybe because it said I can't fix it, it didn't remove it before. Now it says no root. Okay. So now I can go ahead and try building it again. The process feels similar to what I usually do when I'm fixing errors myself as well. I fix something, I rebuild again, and then I'm just waiting. Um, yeah, and then we take it from there. But one thing that I just noticed is it said something here that is already have an image with digest, right? Okay, no, it's talking about Docker. I thought it's not really building it again, it's just using the cached version, which is not really what we want. Rico says, what is the difference between middleware and API routes in Next.js, and when would you use one over the other with Firebase auth? I mean, the API routes are just endpoints. So you call your endpoints. It could do like whatever your business logic wants. The middleware essentially comes on. It's like a hook that triggers on every endpoint, or depending on where you put the middleware. If you put into a sub route, then obviously it's gonna run on all the routes under that sub route. Or if you put it globally, then it would run globally. So a middleware usually comes into places where you want to have an interceptor among your API routes. So, for example, you could have an auth middleware, which you could put on global route, or you could put into a route under authenticated. For example, your endpoints could be my production endpoint slash authenticated slash something something, and then that or slash. Let's keep it simple. We could say um, my production URL slash API slash v1 slash whatever that is. Now all your v1 endpoints have the auth middleware, so everybody needs to go there. On the other hand, you could have a public URL which does not have that middleware, so they don't need to be authenticated. So those are the kind of cases where you would put middlewares instead of having a API endpoints. So API endpoints are essentially there, but the middleware are just functions. It's not an API endpoint itself. All right, so here we have the build created now. Finally, that sounds good. Now I can just run a deploy task, and it should run and deploy our Python code to production. That should be nice. And since Gemini Code Assist should have access to this whole the whole responses here as well, it should know where we are deploying it, and we could then just ask it to run the API endpoint calls, the curl calls from the API testing commands to see if everything works on production. So I don't have to like figure things out. All right, so now it's deploying to a new service, creating a revision, routing traffic, setting IAM policy. These are some things actually that I'm interested in looking into, but I haven't been able to look into the cloud side myself as well. And I don't want to go too deep into things that are not my domain. I would rather build stuff and let AI do the things until I really want to scale or deep dive into it, or I am responsible for, I don't know, responsible for money of other people, or if I'm giving a product as a service, etc., where I would probably hire someone to look into the code and make sure it's secure, it works well, scalable, blah blah blah. But if I'm just creating a prototype, I don't really want to do all of that at all, or dive too deep into these things. Ooh. Why is my PC lagging? I'm not creating an IAM policy, am I? I don't think so. By the way, those of you who are looking at LinkedIn, thank you for the follows recently. LinkedIn has gone crazy recently. It's like every time I open it, I have 50 network requests. With that rate, I think we would probably cross, I don't know, 2,000 followers on LinkedIn. Not 2,000, sorry, 20,000. Maybe by the end of next week, even earlier. I don't know. But thank you everyone who's following. Okay, so we do have everything that's run. Now we have the service URL as well. So we do have the endpoint ready. Cool. All right. How about we ask Gemini to make some API calls and actually test it out? So um, I would say, how about we try to get sessions, or how about we get sessions for all the users? Oh, we don't have an endpoint for that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was saying I have to actually leave in a few minutes. It's about 2 minutes mark, and I have to do dinner. So I have to eat dinner as well. But please go ahead and ask the question. So what I said here is I said this is the production URL, and look at this markdown file which we have right here, and then try to run this against a production URL. So it gave me this particular command, and it seems like that it did not work. Uh, so I wonder why that could be. If I try to go to the URL, let's see if I can go there. Does it say anything at all, or does it not say? It could also be that I don't have enough funds in my account that could result in the service not being available. But I don't think it should be a problem, to be honest. If I go to services, I should be able to the so here we have the Flask service, right? So we do have the container right here. And thanks to IO Connect and Google Cloud Summit, I know a bit now about the Google Cloud. So here we have logs, and see if it doesn't if it fails or something. Okay, so memory limit. Okay, so here you see consider increasing the memory limit, see cloud blah 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 configuration, and that's why it's not really going ahead. Hmm. So maybe so what I'll do is, since I have to go, we'll stop right here with this one, and we'll try to continue with increasing the memory for this, and also making the back end and the front end covered. So let's make it a two-part series. This is the first part where we have created a front end, barely tested it because the back end is much more important. And then we have created a Flask backend here, which has the API endpoint. We can deploy it. There are some memory issues, but once this endpoint is running fine, we can actually make the front end work with that. And then we are going to, or I'm going to release this both of these projects open source, hopefully as well. But it would probably come under IOMX repository. So we'll see where this goes. But thank you everyone who joined today. I'm gonna actually leave now, and make sure to still react to the YouTube video or LinkedIn or whatever, and share this as well so it reaches out to more people. Last question that I can check. If AI gave you Next.js get static props for something that changes every 10 minutes, what would you do? If AI gave me Next.js get static props for something that changes. Next.js has a concept of something called ISR, which is incremental static regeneration. So what happens is that if you have something that changes every 10 seconds, then you can configure Next.js to use incremented static regeneration every 10 seconds or every 10 minutes. Sorry. And then it would run the get. It would basically, when you use get static props, what happens is that you run it, or you get it run when you're building the application. So you have normal props, which are server side rendered. You get them every time the user comes to your backend API or your URL. Then the server runs. So that's SSR. When you run SSG, which is server static site generation, that only happens when you build your application, right? What happens with ISR is that you trigger a rebuild of your application based on a certain timer. So if you say every 10 minutes, I need you to rebuild the application, then it automatically rebuilds the application, in turn runs the get static props, which gets the new information. And then it basically, since it's running the new build, then it gets deployed. So you always get in 10 minutes, you essentially get the new build. So I hope that answers the question. I'm confused about Next.js and Angular. Which is best according to the future? Next.js is powerful, and it's used in small scale applications, also medium scale applications. And React as a framework is primarily used a lot in startups, I would say, and mid-size companies. Angular is really well suited for enterprises, for companies that would have developers coming and going, developers being able to switch into different teams as well, because Angular is a framework that allows you to code in a certain way, and every developer in the team codes in that certain way. So it's an opinionated way of coding, which makes it really easier to switch teams, to switch projects for developers, and also sustain a career with with knowledge that is not unlimited, so to say. Because in Next.js, when you're working, you have like a gazillion ways of doing different things. I mean, not literally, but you have many ways of doing the same thing, many libraries to do the same thing. For example, using MapperSmith for API calls, some other state management library, blah blah blah. So I prefer Angular in that regard. And Army, if you have not looked into my Angular crash course, which is the 90 minutes crash course, look into it as well. Rico says, "Mashallah, bro, you got it. Allahumma barik." Were you testing me? Were you testing me, bro? Maybe you are. Okay. Anyways, Allah Hafiz. Thank you, everyone.